I'm glad to see you at Hodgepodge Lodge today. I have a new friend, and I want you to look around and figure out why I invited Mr. Brown to Hodgepodge Lodge today. I bet you can. Welcome to Hodgepodge Lodge, Bill. Amy, have you looked around and figured out why I invited this interesting man here today? What do you think?
Well, he brought these things right here to show us.
He brought these to show us, right? And why do you think? I could have gone to the store and bought these things, bought some things like, not these things, because these are very special. But what's special about Bill Brown? Jeffrey, what do you think?
He's an artist.
That's a very good way of saying it. He's a, what kind of artist would you say?
A woodblock artist.
A woodblock artist, good. Well, you've been called lots of things, right? How would you describe yourself, Bill?
Wood carver, craftsman.
Wood carver, and wood carving is a craft. And do you think he's interested in nature?
Yeah.
How can you tell?
He carves things out of wood.
Out of wood, and some of them are special nature things, aren't they? Like that one right there in front of you, Jeff. I noticed. Would you like to feel him? Don't move him, but feel him. Does he remind you of anything in a story that you might have heard in school, or a famous piece of music?
Peter and the Wolf.
Right. Isn't that just like the wolf in Peter and the Wolf? Lean, and his ribs are showing, his skinny ribs. I like the way it feels, because sometimes you see wood carvings that are so smooth that they're not as interesting as the way you lead.
But that's one of the beauties of wood, I think, Miss Jean, the feel of it.
And different things have a different feel.
That's right.
The wolf is sort of rough, but this owl is smooth. Now, did you have any particular owl in mind when you did him?
I had several sketches. One was from a front page of a newspaper, another from an ad for a commercial product, and I just combined them and into a figure that I enjoy doing.
How'd you get started?
I've always, I think, been interested in wood and the things that can be done with wood. It's just a beautiful medium to play with. And I don't know, as a kid I used to do penknife whittling type things, and found a book that turned me on about 10 years ago, and been at it since.
Have you ever tried whittling with a penknife?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did you make anything?
No.
Just well, sometimes it's fun just to whittle,
Just make
take a
chips.
big stick and make it into little sticks.
Right.
But that's important, because you have to learn the right way to use it so you don't chop yourself up. And Bill brought some things for you kids to try, something that you can actually try and get your hands into it a little later when we go to the Discovery Table. So maybe you'll get turned on and you'll take up some wood carving, because you don't. I see you used a piece of an old board here. Just looks like it's been out in the
a piece
weather,
of driftwood.
right? You don't have to go buy expensive wood.
No, really don't.
Yeah, I like that little scene there, because you get is that hair wood too? That cowboy's hair?
Yes, it's all
a little Mexican hair. He's not the cowboy. It looks almost black plastic, because you got such a.
The paints are just watercolors or whatever. Some look better, more natural.
Yeah. And this cowboy here looks like somebody I know. His hands in his pocket. Jeff, you brought a couple treasures today, and tell us about these.
Well, this is.
What do you know about these bones?
Well, that's a jawbone. It's like a horse or a cow, and that's a skull.
And that's a skull. And I don't think I can add anything to that. This almost looks like a monkey skull, but there aren't any monkeys around here. You say your mother bought them at an antique auction? Well, maybe somebody brought them back from some other country and had them in their attic.
Maybe.
Lots of mystery. Some skulls I can recognize, but I don't know about that. Have you ever seen a bone made out of wood?
No.
Well, take a look over on the desk. Yeah, there's a wooden bone.
Oh, there's one.
It looks like it was a real one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
funny dog. Now, how do you describe the way this kind of a carving?
That's a caricature.
A caricature. Do you know that word, Amy?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a funny word.
It simply means taking some of the features that the animal might have and exaggerating them, making them more prominent, more humorous. It's a light.
They do that
carving.
in the political cartoons in the newspaper all the time. If somebody has a big nose, they make. Sometimes they just draw the big nose, and you know exactly who it is.
Exactly who it is.
And sometimes some other feature. Well, speaking of animals, I have a little orphan animal here in my basket. You know, it has to be very tiny because it's not taking up very much room. How about, would you set him back there on the desk? And I thought maybe you kids might like to help me feed him before we go over to the discovery table and take our turn at wood carving. Now, a few days ago, one of my friends, well, she's my friend now, but she wasn't when she called me up. She said that she had found this poor little creature out in her front yard, and they thought, she and her husband thought it might be a possum. But when she brought it over, I decided it had to be what lives in trees and has nests in holes in trees, and they have gray fur on them when they're grown up. And right. But it's hard to tell at this stage, isn't it? His tail doesn't have any hair on him, and you hear him making little grunting noises.
Looks like a bat.
I'm trying to keep him going with some warm milk. What did I do with my...
In your little
basket. Is it in the basket? Oh, okay. A little nest for him here. And give him a little drink of milk before we go over to the discovery table. Here. I have a book that says they open their eyes when they're 19 days old, so you know he's not that old yet. This is milk and corn syrup and baby cereal mixed up together.
Cute.
Yeah. The hardest thing to do is to keep him warm enough because he doesn't have any fur or any nice warm mother to snuggle up to or any brothers and sisters.
You can feel a little hair on his head a little bit.
Can you? I can see his nose is getting black. Would you like to touch him, Jeff? Isn't it amazing how he has, you can see his eyes are going to be where his eyes are going to be, and his ears are there, but they're all sort of plastered back. Little tiny feet. And a little skinny tail. So he seems to be doing pretty well. So if I just carry him around with me wherever I go and keep his milk warm, he may get as big as a squirrel that Mr. Brown is working on. Would you like to go over to the discovery table and see it? Come on, Aurora. Aurora loves to chew on wood, Bill, so be careful you don't get any of your best specimens close to him.
See, he's not finished yet. Still have some work to do on his feet.
You have to paint him.
And color him up somehow. But, and his tail comes off.
A removable tail.
A removable tail.
Isn't that a neat idea? Is that something you invented?
No, I think that's a standard fairly typical. When the project gets big, it can be made up in
two pieces,
smaller pieces.
And he's going to be up on his leg.
His tail is a little heavier than he tends to rock back. He'll be mounted somehow on a piece of log, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. And here's is that a special kind of bear?
A grizzly bear.
A grizzly bear. And does this remind you of a funny poem you might have heard someday? I never saw a purple cow. Haven't you ever heard that little rhyme? I never saw a purple cow. I never hope to see one. But I can tell you anyhow, I'd rather see than be one.
That's the purple cow.
And here's a green spotted goat. That's using your artistic license,
Right.
imagination. And well, is he reading or what is he doing to the book?
Eating.
Eating it, right. Goats are famous for chewing up all kinds of different kinds of things. Like I had one once who liked to eat the funny papers. What's this?
Looks like a salt shaker.
This is the wood carver's mallet or hammer.
Oh.
And notice it's round.
Yeah.
That's because the wood carver, when he picks it up and starts striking the tool, doesn't have to worry where the flat part is.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So you always hit the tool where you want to hit the tool.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
So the wood carver mallet, this one is a small one and for smaller work, and it wasn't quite heavy enough, so we weighted it, put a little bit of lead in it.
I thought it was going to be one of those things that a mortar and pestle, like they grind up things with.
It does have that look.
Well, what is it you're going to show us how to make? Something like this?
Yes, I'm going to show you how to go through the process of making a relief carving. These carvings are what we call in the round. They're three-dimensional. They're a
you
figure.
Can see all the
you can
sides.
see all around it. The relief carving is another special kind of little carving. It's trying to get the appearance of the object in just about this much wood, in a very thin, raised figure of wood. And I'm going to walk through that process, that technique with you, and give you a chance to try it.
Well, fine. Let's
Okay.
see. Well, it's hard to believe that we're going to get that anything
can
that beautiful. You're going to show us your tools?
I thought if we can slide this over here, we can move the...
Got a lot of stuff.
That's the way with most good hobbies. They take up a lot of room. Let's see, maybe
Yeah,
those in front of me here.
Right.
Oh, right now we're all
Now, let me just show you something about the tools. The basic tool for the wood carver is still the knife. It looks just like a paring knife or a smaller blade, perhaps, but it's basic. You do most of the carving I do with the knife. These other tools, notice this is a nice straight cutting edge right across the front. This is called a firmer.
Looks like a chisel.
A chisel is another word for it.
A firmer. That's a new word. And you have
The difference between the firmer and the chisel is that it's sharpened slightly differently. But it is a chisel type tool. Now we can take that same firmer and curve it a little bit. And this tool then is called a gouge. And it essentially does just that. It gouges out wood.
You can take a look at that and increase your vocabulary. Jeff, I know you're very interested in words, and you too, Amy. A firmer and a gouge. And that's, I guess you must have something narrower. You make all those.
Oh, yes.
Like on the wolf where you made all those.
They come in a variety of sizes. And for example, if I can reach over here, see, here's a smaller version of the gouge.
Oh, that's cute. So you can make little narrow.
Right, little
Yeah,
narrow
I see
gouge
those.
cuts.
Yeah. You want to see that, Amy? That's about how he made the rough spots on the wolf and stuff. So I'm glad to see you didn't clean up your toolkit before you came. It shows that you really do work.
I'm ashamed. Now, Jeff and Amy, what we're going to try to do in the next few minutes is make a little mushroom. Notice the piece of wood I've got is very rough. It's rough sawn, it's called. It just hasn't been smoothed.
Feel that, children.
Can you feel it? And I chose it because it has a contrast. It makes the mushroom look so much nicer when it's raising out of the very rough background of the wood. Now, the first thing we'll do is draw a picture of the mushroom on the block, roughly where we want it. This is about where. just draw right on the block. It takes some time to develop the mushroom design that we're after, but once we have the design, I can make a lot of them just like it with a little cardboard.
Did you make that up yourself?
Yes. This is a project in one of my classes.
Oh, so now that you've learned to wood carve, you teach it to other people.
Yes.
Right? That's a good way to learn better.
Now what we have to do is make cuts around this edge of this mushroom so that we can separate it from the rest of the wood. And that I'll do with a very small firmer and my little mallet. And I need one other
instrument.
I hold it down close to the tip of the wood and just nice, easy little taps. And I'll outline the whole mushroom with vertical cuts. Can you see what I've done? I'm beginning to outline the whole mushroom with vertical cuts.
A little groove there. Well, I never knew that's how you started out, and I never knew you needed one of these things. That looks like fun.
Of course, if the carving gets bigger, the mallet and tools will get bigger.
Well, so, and what's this little thing you have?
This little gadget,
working...
yes. One of the tricks of doing the wood carving is try to hold the materials so that they don't move. They're dangerous. One could cut oneself very severely if it isn't held down. And this is called a wood carver's hold down device, and I can slide the block around. It hooks over the edge of the table.
Yes, perfect.
Can make several of them of different size and accommodate a number of projects.
And
I'm going to leave this one now. Here's one that I've done all the outlining on. I've made the vertical cuts. It's separated from the background, and now I'm going to take some of this background away. And that's done with the gouge. The curve tool that I showed you before. And what I want to do is show you how to do this safely too. You want to keep your fingers behind the cutting edge. And I usually keep my finger on the tool so I know where it is. And you start with little pushing cuts and take these little chips off. I'll have to sweep up after we're finished.
That's all right. Aurora leaves the floor covered with sunflower seeds. You are welcome to.
I think you'll find this is a very, very clean craft because the chips just sweep up.
Well, that's neat. That must be a very sharp tool.
It is. Now, you can see that I've started the process of taking the background down. I'll take away background out to the pencil line that I drew. I have to go back several times and make the vertical cuts again because I haven't, in the first try, didn't get it deep enough to do it.
Yeah, well, we can compare with the stage.
Right.
See how much he's taken out on this one. Now, are you children going to get a chance to try?
Yes. Now, would you like to try taking some of the background off? Why don't I just slide it over here? Weight it down here.
Now, what happens if you slip? Yeah, why don't you go and supervise? Because I can see one little go too far and take the mushroom.
Hold this with this hand. Hold this up here like this, Jeff, and just push slowly.
Oh, the little slot helps you stop.
That's right, exactly.
Oh, right.
Matter of fact, it's called a stop cut. See?
Oh, look at that. Speedy Jeff.
Now blow your chips away. Great. Now you can see where you've been, okay? There you go. Okay. There. That's it. That's it. You're going to be a good wood carver. How's that? Want to let Amy try? Here, let's lift this up a little bit, and I think it'll... There we go. Work on this side, Amy. Hold this with your hand. That's it. And that's it. Start up closer to the line. That's it. That's it. There you go.
Is it hard, Amy?
Okay.
That's not very hard.
No, it looks like pretty soft
Well, the
wood.
tools are very, very sharp.
Yeah, having sharp tools is
There you go.
half the battle. Aurora's even getting interested. He says, "Boy, that looks like something I'd like to do."
That's all there is to it. One thing I want to mention, the background, as we gouge these little marks out. If you notice, you can see that it makes a pattern. Well, those patterns become part of the design.
Part of the design, yes. That's what I was admiring, because that's what I like about the wolf and the bear. You know, you can actually see where the tools have been.
I could use a smaller gouge and make a different pattern.
That looks like what you've done.
That's what I've done with this one, see? Now, this mushroom has been removed from the background, or the background removed from the wood, so that the mushroom stands out. Now I can start making it look like a mushroom. But notice the background's a little different from the one we were working on. Just a different tool and a different effect.
I just noticed something. How good it smells.
This is basswood. It does have a good smell. Now what I'd like to do, let's put this one aside. Let's make out we've taken that figure and raised the background this far. Now let's shape it. We're going to make it look like a mushroom. First thing I'll do here is draw on it a little bit more. I'll go back to the little picture I had. We want to try to make this mushroom look like it's a full-size mushroom growing out of the back of the wood.
That you can just reach in and pick it.
And we'll draw some lines on it to where that edge is. There. And the shaping process, I'll use the firmer, and I'll use the gouges again. And I'll show you, I'll do the same thing. Notice I'll hold it back here and start to shape this mushroom.
Yeah.
Give it some mushroom type shape.
Oh, it's getting round already. Here, take a look at that, children. You can see what he's doing.
Plus it feels nice and soft.
I know. I thought that Bill had used sandpaper, but he says no. It's all done with tools.
That's right.
It's good.
Now you can see what he meant by having the rough background with the smooth mushroom popping right out of the middle of it. And even the knot hole adds to the effect.
Now what we'll do is let's take a little bit of this out so that you can see how that is going to look. Let's use a small gouge for that purpose.
And this is the underneath of the mushroom where the
Right.
gills are.
We want to make the mushroom disappear into the block of wood by moving this back edge into the background.
Oh, look at those neat curls. When I was a little girl and the hired man used to be working on something in the workshop, we'd hang those curls over our ears. Did you ever do that, Amy? They were long, thick curls from boards. Well, the next time you see a wood carving somewhere, I bet you'll stop and take a second look, won't you? And think about what it would look like in the beginning and all the different tools that were used on it, and maybe what the artist was like, because everybody does his own thing. Here's a beautiful moose. I bet something like that is pretty tricky. You get to a point where the antlers might break off or Are they pegged in?
Yes,
They're
the
separate.
antlers are separate. There's a school of wood carver who says that you should make all of your projects out of one block of wood. I haven't quite met
Well,
that.
what difference does it make, really, when it turns out so well? Well, there we are.
Would you like to try using the gouge and shape it a little bit? Let me come around and show you again. Now this tool, Amy's used exactly the same way, and you just slide it along like so, okay? And we got the corner hooked under there. Let's get rid of it first.
As soon as you come to a
Because
tough
that
spot
has
in
to
the woods.
happen sooner or later anyhow. See how
Oh,
nice
yes.
kneaded, nice smooth chips?
But you have to know when to stop, right?
The beginner usually stops too soon. And then we raise it up a little bit and we can sort of hollow it out. We want real dynamic shape to it.
Well, thank you very much. Keep on working with Amy, that's fine. I just have to say goodbye to my friends.
Okay, try this side.
I hope you enjoyed meeting Bill Brown and seeing some of the many things that go into wood carving. And maybe you can try your hand at a simple project, maybe a mushroom. Make a mushroom come right out of a little block of wood. But be very careful because the tools are sharp. Thanks for coming, and come back soon again to Hodgepodge Lots.
This program was made possible through funds contributed by members of the Maryland Center for Public Broadcasting.
Pre-recorded in the studios of the Maryland Center for Public Broadcasting.